Welcome back to It Was Never a Phase Cards. My name is TJ, and in today's video, we got a few sets that we do need to talk about that have been moving pretty big again. And we're going to start off with Paldea Evolved, move into some Crown Zenith, and then actually talk about some Japanese 151 at the end of the video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But as you guys can tell, I am still traveling. This will be the last video that's like this, and then we'll be back at home on the normal setup. But let's just jump straight into the Paldea. These booster boxes are doing crazy things right now. Check out what we're currently seeing. The listed median price shot up big, over $500. And these boxes just cracked 400 not that long ago. And now we're seeing them already at $450. Currently, lowest listeds. Look at this. $489 for Paldea Evolved. So Paldea blew past that $400 mark. And now we're about to see $500 booster boxes. That's the part that's absolutely blowing my mind. You know, back here they were at 370 in July. They cooled down to around 340, 350, and now we're seeing almost $500 from Paldea. That just has happened so quickly. A year ago, you know, these were actually below MSRP at $135 and 231% gain on the year. Absolutely insane to see it happen this fast. Once again, it's not that it's happening with a lot of these sets, it's just how quickly it's happening. Everything has been so accelerated. So that's currently what we're seeing from Paldea. And then I had to start looking around into some other stuff from Paldea just to kind of see where everything else was at. And we know that Pokemon Center ETBs have been just going crazy overall as well. And Paldea is no exception. Look at this. They have the current market. The market price on TCG Player can't even keep up with the real market price. They have the market price at $500, but this most recent sale was almost $700. And you can see we're up 42% in the past 3 months. But this chart, like I said, is not fully updated yet. So these last solds right here, 669, 675, and then two. There's actually been a few in that $700 range. So we have Paldea Evolved getting a $700 PCETB and a $500 booster box. Currently, the lowest listeds on TCG Player are $700, as you guys can see right here. So 700 PCETB officially been hit. Wild, just wild to see. This box a year ago was $97, so 412% gain on the year for the Paldea Evolved Pokemon Center ETB. And you know, if we're going to talk about Paldea, that we have to at least touch on the Magikarp. And this card's been up pretty big in the past 3 months, leveling out a little bit more recently. You can see back here it was under 200, and now we're at kind of at that 260 mark right here, and it's kind of been there since like late August. So a few weeks it's kind of been at this $260 mark. And right now currently there's a few lower listings that are actually lower than the current market price in the 240s, and then it goes back up to the 260s. So we'll have to keep an eye on this one to see if it can surpass this previous high that we had on this card. If you notice right here, this was back in March. We saw $276 being the high. Late February, early March was the previous high. So we're actually not that far away from that. But if we can, you know, hit this, it would be have to hit that around that $300 mark to maybe see this card see some more explosive growth. But we may start seeing some more attention coming this way now that the boxes are starting to get so expensive. So definitely a possibility right there. The 1 year low on this card was $104, just for reference. Then it shot up to that 270 mark, like I mentioned before, and dropped down all the way to around 190 before going on its current run. So it's been doing well for raw near mint copies, but it's also been performing well for PSA 10s. We'll do a quick check-in on that. These are the last solds. I don't think there's been a ton of movement on the PSA 10 side. Last solds between 2,400 and 2,300. Two at 2,400 and then two at 2,350. So maybe around 2,350, 2,375 current market price. And then we do have another illustration rare that has been shooting up real big recently, and that is the Mousehold number 226. You can see that this card currently is over $45 on TCG Player, with like pretty big gains just in the past few months. Absolutely wild to see. Like in the past month, 37% just in the past month alone. If you zoom out right here, the 1 year low was under $10 back in October. It did climb up into the $30 range at the beginning of this year, and it's actually surprisingly held in that range before now taking pretty much just another big step up. It didn't really dip down too much after this big growth, which is kind of something you would normally expect, but we didn't actually see that. So $45 currently. Lowest listeds right now are right there, maybe a little bit below, but technically pretty much right at that price. $44 for the mouse hold. So that'll be interesting to see how high this one can go. But we're obviously, at an all-time high right here at $45. So that one's a little shocking, considering like some of the other. Not that I don't like this illustration rare, but there's so many other better illustration rares in my opinion, for Paldea. But this is what we're seeing. The market is obviously going crazy for this card. PSA 10s, pretty much all illustration rares are tough to grade at this point. So when I start to see these $400 cards, that doesn't really surprise me. Pretty much all in that $400 range, as you can see on screen for the last solds. So 400, maybe a little bit more for the mouse hold in a PSA 10. And then Tyranitar. This is one that has been seeing a little bit of an uptick more recently. And I'm surprised that this card didn't do this sooner. It's a really nice illustration rare, but you can see there were a ton of cards being purchased right here. This was yesterday. So a lot of cards being purchased, around 70 copies, and that's been a little bit what's been pushing some of this price up. But 22% gain just in the past month alone. It's still right around $50, $49 currently, and you can see the previous high. We still haven't been able to get back to that quite yet. $51, $52. So we're a few dollars away from that. And the 1 year low was around 26 back in September of last year. Currently, the lowest listeds are pretty much, actually, they're surpassing those all-time highs. So the next sale that we get would surpass that previous high. So this will be another interesting one to see where this one can go. It's obviously a great card from the set. So keep an eye out on the Tyranitar. And I'll keep you guys updated, so make sure you stay subscribed to the channel with notifications on, because I do post every single day. And then PSA 10s, we did see a little bit of a leap here with the most recent sale. So I don't know if this will hold and this will be kind of the new price. But before that, we saw, actually, 2 at $430. We did see a $540 before that, and then the most recent sale being $550. So I would say maybe between these 4 sales, you're going to average that out to around 500, being your current market price for the Tyranitar in a PSA 10. So that's currently what we're looking at for that. And then the Sleepy Raichu has started to move a little bit as well. Like I said, although you'd think this card would probably have started to move already based off of what we've seen from everything else, but maybe it's just lagging behind a little bit. Now that the Tyranitar starting to get some attention, maybe the Raichu will follow. And you can see, I mean, it did get a bunch of attention right here. Just not as crazy. This was yesterday as well. 20 copies sold. So just not nearly as many. But it's up almost 10% in the past month. And if we zoom out, it's come pretty far off of this previous high. In January, it hit $57. Before that, it was 31, shot up to 57. And then this is what we've been seeing a lot of singles do, is just pretty much since January. They've been falling off, just slowly falling off. And like I said, it hit that bottom of around 43 recently, and now it's up to around 46, 47. So maybe this will continue to go up. Lowest listeds right now are at 47 and up. So that's what we're currently seeing from the Raichu. So this one has a ways to go. There's a lot of more copies of this card currently available. You can see right here, 131 listed on TCG Player. So a little bit different there. Like I said, maybe it's just lagging behind. Give it a few more days, maybe a week. Maybe this card will be looking a little bit different. And we're going to check in on PSA 10s for this card as well. Last sold was 500. Before that, we're seeing 430, 430, and 400. Like I said, that's kind of, it seems like for most illustration rares, even if they're like remotely popular, this is kind of what we're seeing now for these PSA 10 prices. So that's just the new normal for this current market that we're in. Very high PSA 10 prices. There was, in the past, steals. We had steals left and right. And then, okay, we got to talk about Crown Zenith. Seriously, maybe I should have made this a dedicated video just about Crown Zenith, because there's a lot going on right now. But this is something that's, wow, this is going to be a crazy point when we actually hit this, and we're not that far away. But this is the regular Elite Trainer box you can see right here. It's up around 25, 26% in the past 3 months, right? You can see $170 right here. Current market's at $216, but most recent sale at $240. And then the interesting thing is the listed median price is $300. So that's what I'm talking about. And you can see we're going up already. 235s are the lowest listed, and then just a handful of sales to in the 250. So once we see these regular ETBs hit the $300 mark, that's going to be a real, like, a psychological level. And I think people are really going to go, oh my gosh, I forgot about Crown Zenith. I forgot how good it was. I can't believe those ETBs are at 300. So that's something that we're not that far away from, uh, really. And look at how steady. This has been one of the most steady charts that you can see. It's just gone up and up and up. It's not really stair stepping very much, and when it does, it's very small. But a year ago, 53, $54 ETBs, and it's just been absolutely climbing and climbing. So I know we've talked about Crown Zenith a little bit recently, but the ETB continuing to make moves. So I just wanted to keep you guys updated on that. As well as the Pokemon Center ETB for Crown Zenith as well. You can see in the past 3 months even bigger gains, 46%. Listed median price on this one is well over 500, and we're at 422 right now. So this is another one that's just going to continue to move up. Like I said, a different, like I've said in the past, different from Scarlet and Violet because they don't have those stamped promos, but more limited print run. It's more of a collector's item, so these are still performing well. 40, like I said, 46%, and then if you zoom out, 266%. Now this, you can see how this chart differs. It hasn't had that like steady climb, as far as just up and up and up. It had some movement. It was around 115, went up to around 300, then it cooled down to around 250, and then it's on its current trajectory that we're seeing right now. So with the listed median being 540, probably see more of these move here within the next month. Like, let's go back to the 1 month for a second. It's a little bit of a slower mover. You can see in the past month only 18 have sold, and there's 36 available currently. So like I said, it might take a little bit more time for the PC ETB to move, but it will move. It's just a matter of time there. And then we got, man, okay, so this is a card that we just talked about a few days ago, and now it's just continuing to just go big, and that is the Mewtwo V-Star GG44. Look at this chart. In the last 3 months, 95% gains. This was a $100 card 3 months ago, and now we're seeing it well break over that $200 mark. They have TCG shows current market at 203. Most recent sale, $230, and lowest listed right now, that's right where they are, 230 and up on the Mewtwo. So if we zoom out right here, you can see this was the previous high back here. We saw in February around $125. It came down to under 100 again, and now we're on just an absolute tear. And a year ago, 1 year ago, this was a $52 card, and now we're seeing well over $200 sales. So the Mewtwo is performing currently as the top card from Crown Zenith, outpacing the Gold Giratina, if you can believe that. So the Mewtwo V-Star performing extremely well, looking really good. Lower supply, 33 copies currently listed on TCG Player. So this is another one too where as these boxes start to get expensive, probably the singles are going to continue to rise as well. Just everything just moving up so quickly. PSA 10s on this card have been a little bit more expensive, 550, 550, and then before that, somebody got a little bit of a steal right here at 430, and then these other ones 540 and 500. So definitely at least a $500 PSA 10 currently, and deservedly so. This is a nice looking card. So with the PSA 10 market, that doesn't surprise me one bit. And then one of the last things that I wanted to mention real quickly is Japanese 151 booster boxes. Now, we haven't talked about this on the channel too much in a while. I think we touched on it maybe somewhat recently, but some pretty big growth that we're starting to see right here. And we're getting up to an interesting point as this starts to get near that $200 mark for a box. 11, almost 12% gains in the past 3 months, but it went from 150 up to currently we're seeing the last sold was actually 185, and that's where we're seeing the lowest listeds are actually higher than that. Lowest listed around 187 and up. So not too many more sales, and we'll see this box get back to the $200 mark, which is a place that it's been before. It's been over $200. After it released, it was hard to get. They heavily printed these boxes and brought the prices down. So it took a long time. And some of the 151 hype may have died off a little bit, especially with how much English product was available, at least at the time. A lot of people moved over to English. But 1 year ago, This was an $88 box. It hit 160-ish in May, and then it's kind of stagnated around that price until recently. So it's kind of held there, and now we're seeing some bigger movement on Japanese 151. So that currently is what we're looking at as far as a little bit of a market update video for you guys. Like I said at the beginning, this will be the last video that is shot like this. I do apologize if there's been any audio issues or anything weird. I've been traveling. We went to Disneyland, and we still haven't gotten that Phantasmal Flames drop, even though every day I'm on rides or I'm in the queue for a ride while I'm on my phone in trying to get in that Pokemon Center queue. But so we'll definitely have an update video kind of talking a little bit more about that Phantasmal Flame situation, because it's been interesting with them potentially bot fishing and all the stuff that they're doing on their end. They're really teasing us at this point. But as of this recording, it's Wednesday right now. The drop definitely could be happening today. It's definitely possible, or it could be happening tomorrow. For me, fingers crossed, tomorrow. I would love for them to delay to Thursday, but at this point, it's been a little bit annoying with how long they've taken just to like get this drop out, and how many times like we've seen, okay, the queue's starting to go live, the queue's going up, security measures are changing, we're waiting. So I'm frustrated with you guys as well. I kind of just wanted it to get over with. But at the same time, maybe I'm a little grateful that it didn't happen, because, I'm waiting in these lines at Disneyland, and then sometimes, you go in a place and you lose service, and then it was bumping me out of queue, it was resetting. So, if it happens today, so be it. If it happens tomorrow, then that's even better for me. But that's all I have for you guys in this one. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. And remember, it was never a phase.